Hey guys, welcome to my first YouTube video and my first in this series that I'm going to do called MarvelSnap What If. So this is basically, I'm just going to be talking about ideas, maybe card changes, stuff like that in the future. Today I'm joined by Kawa.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm sure
sure
you're familiar with myself. Me and Lou have talked about league cards many times. So yeah, I'm super excited to get into today's discussion, Lou.
Yes, thank you very much for taking time out to join me today. So we're just going to jump right in. So today I'm tackling just MarvelSnap in general of changes I'd like to see. Now, this isn't necessarily stuff that I think will happen or that, is even possible. This is just from, I've been a part of the community since the beta. So I've seen changes. I've seen the Reddit threads and the Discords and of everyone's problems with the game, what they like to see changed. So this is just kind of what I came up with, what I think would be. And Kyle was going to throw in his 2 cents to help us get through these. So the first thing, second dinner, you might want to hold on. This might make you freak out a little bit. But I think right off the bat, tokens, cut everything's price in half. So Series 3 cards cost $500, Series 4 $1,500, Series 5 $3,000, and the Ultimate variant's $2,500. I just think with the complaints that we've gotten with people saying it's too hard to get tokens, too hard to get the new cards, I just feel like this would be a straight out blanket. And really, I don't see, I know with a lot of their changes, they get feedback back that negatively or whatever. I don't see anyone saying anything negative about cutting the cost of everything. What do you think, Tom?
100%. It's really interesting that you kind of suggest that, because I mean that's something that I feel like everybody would like, especially certain things like I mean the whole kind of card acquisition thing is something that people are kind of constantly talking about, and I know they are actively looking into that. It is something that they are talking about changing. But yeah, even just lowering the price of certain token card. I don't know about halving it, but there's definitely lenience in there, I think. Again, probably not the most important part, but like even the ultimate variants, I just don't think it's valid to spend 5,000 tokens. I know it's like a super ultra rare like variant, but if you compare it to your normal variants, which are 700 gold, and then your rarer variants that are the 1,200. So 1,200 gold, I mean, like, if you want to put a 5,000 tokens in terms of gold, like, how much gold is that? Like, that's probably a lot of gold. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm always down for like cutting it down, and I don't think it would be received in a bad way necessarily. You know what I mean? It just makes the cards more accessible. And I think, listen, with like as they keep adding cards and as they keep kind of changing the system and bringing up new ideas, I think this is something that they may consider. Like, I don't think it's a possibility where they say, oh, we're never gonna like bring this down, or you know what I mean. We've seen with changes such as the series drops, right? That's super important that they didn't say, right, cards are just gonna stay here and that's it, this is the price of them. So if they're doing stuff like series drops, there's always a possibility that they're gonna be able to drop tokens. Yeah, I think it's a great suggestion for sure.
And we know that they've talked about that they're looking at something mostly for the Series 3 for people that are not Series 3 complete. Some way for them to get the Series 4 and Series 5 cards easier. They haven't really shared the plans, but they've shared that they're looking at working something like that. And I think this would help because, and this is also me taking into the fact of the token rate now. So the 100 drops for if you're not Series 3 complete, and then the 100 to 600 drops that you get now. Because, it takes 10 of those caches that have 100 tokens for someone that's not Series 3 complete to get. And just dropping that from 10 caches that have 100 in them, it's 5 now. Makes it a lot more, reasonable, I think. And also, like, with cutting everything, it just, makes it everything half as much to get. Like I said, I know it's a little like that might sound like a crazy thing of just cutting everything in half, and maybe they look at that and they do lower it some, but not quite half or something like that. But I just think that would be a win for everyone, and they will obviously know more of the metrics if that would actually work for them and their business model. Another thing that just kind of throw in with the tokens, and I think you and me talked about it, or maybe it was on the MarvelSnap podcast, but I think there's definitely should be some cards that come out of Series 4. I don't think every card should come out of Series 5. We've seen cards that seem like they have lower power level and some that people, you don't even see play that much. I've only had one Shauna played against me since the card's been released, and it just doesn't seem like people are out, getting these cards. But if they were Series 4 to begin with, even if at 3,000 tokens, it's a lot better than 6,000. I'd probably risk 3,000 tokens on a card I was iffy about before I risked 6,000. What do you think about it?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's something I've said that as someone who actively whales in the game and currently has all of the cards. I mean, like cards like Shanna and cards like Dazzler are super powerful cards, right? They are really powerful cards, but they're not worth 6k. And I always need to stress this to people, that anyone that comes into my chat or asks me on Twitter, oh, is like Shadow King worth 6k? Is this card worth 6k? Like, there's certain new ones that come out that will be worth the Series 5 status, right? Like your Kangs, like that card is gonna be a Series 5 card, right? But your Shannas and your Dazzlers and stuff, they're super good cards, but they would see more play if they were Series 3. I'd just be interested to know if Second Dinner considered this before. I'm sure they've looked at this before, saying, oh, like maybe we just add the new cards into Series 3 and maybe add this card into Series 4, because it seems like they're the type of company that would have looked into kind of things like this before. I don't know how much they've actually even shared with us about that, if this is something they have tried before, but I would imagine that is something that they've tried. And maybe it's, I know they have talked about the reason why the new cards are Series 5 is because they're new, you know what I mean? Like they're supposed to be exciting and stuff, but this is the whole thing. It's, well, if I never see the card played against me, is it really exciting that it's a new card that nobody can really get? And then when you do get it, like when I spend 6k on a card like Dazzler, yeah, I have make the most of it and have fun with it, but then I'm like, oh, maybe I should have saved those tokens for, like, your Kang or whatever. So I think it's something that again, it's just like the general type of card acquisition, and I know it is something that they will be looking into. But I would be interested to know their thought process on if this is something that they've tried before, like adding cards into the lower pools rather than just putting new cards into Series 5.
Yeah, and we know that they like we were talking about a while ago, they're definitely, the card acquisition is a big thing that they're working on. So this could be something that they pepper in, something they're looking at also. They could change how tokens are got, but also Series 4 cards, Series 5 cards, and all that. But I mean, I just think that could something they could definitely look at. But I do like now that the drops are in the game, that we know that, pretty much every month we're going to have, cards drop down and stuff. So that's very nice. So we're going to move on to the next topic. So variant shop. So this is, if I scared Second Dinner with the first thing, we're cutting the tokens in half. This is only going to make them more money. Missions, token shop, all reset on an 8-hour timer. Why doesn't the variant shop? I know that I get real excited at reset every day. I look at it, look at the 6 new variants I have, decide if I want to, swipe that card and get some of those sweet arts. But then I'm just waiting 24 hours to do it again. So I feel like you'd only increase your revenue of more people buying more variants if they had options to buy more throughout the day. I know our good friend SuperTech, he would be ching-chinging everywhere with if he had access to 18 variants every day.
100%. For me, like, one of the features as well, I mean, the 8-hour reset makes complete sense to me. I've talked about this a few times as well. I'd love a reroll feature. Like, even if that was a different solution, one reroll every day. You got your shop, you're really excited, you waited the full day, and it's a bunch of types of cards you're not a fan of. I'm not going to say a particular set of cards, but, to each his own. But, I think a reroll feature would be cool. There's another thing that some people suggested, which is, like, the game learns what variants you like, or, you get to favorite a certain artist, so there's a higher chance of those ones coming up. Like, in general, I think that's just like you said, it's good for them. Like, it means they'll probably make more money. People will spend their gold, or people will spend their real money. But again, I'd be curious to see, maybe they don't want to go down that specific route because they don't want certain artists' stuff not being shown, and you know what I mean. But then again, like, if it's what somebody's into and it's per account, there's so many people that love this game, so I'm sure everyone's going to be into something that's in the game. So yeah, I think I'd love to see different kind of features like that. Reroll specifically, I think, would be awesome.
Yeah, I think reroll would be a very nice feature if they wanted to add in, but this is something, like, I feel like they could, maybe not in like a hot fix, but would be on their technical side a very easy thing. And you're talking about one reroll, so that means you could see 7 variants a day, but this would be 18. You'd get to see 18 variants. So it's even more with that. And but yeah, I think it's an interesting thing that they could look at, and I'm sure they've probably thought about that idea and how to get more variants in people's hands and stuff. So another cool idea. So the next one. So all right, so another one is a change that I've seen people talk about. A very debated thing is the hot and feature locations in the game. So currently the way it works is hot locations come in, drops a new location on us to the game, and it's for 48 hours, and it's at 60% or a 40% rate. Then on the weekends we get the 1 day 24 hours feature location, and that's at a 60% increased rate. So just like I was saying with the variant shop, it should reset every 8 hours, like we get new missions and the token shop resets. So my suggested change is that the hot locations should be for 24 hours at a 60% rate. So it basically mirrors the feature location. And that helps a lot because there are some locations that we've seen has hit and people's just like, I'm just not going to play the game for 2 days. So this is 24 hours. Just you lose one less day.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's actually funny. Like, there's been hot and featured locations in the game for like a long, like, I mean, we've been beta players, right? So we've experienced this since the start, basically, and it's probably strange, but the longer it's gone on, there are those days where I'm like, I just don't want to play. I just don't want to deal with this location, and like that doesn't mean I'm gonna run a deck that like with Scarlet Witch or whatever to try and change the location, but it is a little bit frustrating sometimes. So yeah, I think 48 hours is kind of long, and if there's some like bonkers deck where you just see basically one dominant deck the whole time, and it's like, oh well, if I want to play the game I have to play this or whatever. Like I didn't actually mind this location, but just as for an example, like with Lamentis, people were running, oh, we gotta run Death with Lamentis, you know what I mean? So and that means, yeah, you can play Shang-Chi or you can do this or whatever. I know some people running Black Bolt to like counter that so they could discard the Death, which is crazy. But yeah, there's locations that can be a little bit frustrating. Like one of the latest ones, Plunder Castle, right? There's some decks that just don't run 6-drops. Actually, I've actually been looking at this recently. A lot of my decks actually don't run 6-drops, or if they do, it's one 6-drop to do kind of a combo or something like that. So I can see the frustration, but yeah, I think 24 hours down from 48 would be I'd be more than happy with that for sure.
Yeah, because there are some locations that I know Lamentis was one of them. You got to put your Death in your deck. Some people putting Moon Girl in, stuff like that. I think some locations lean towards making some decks very, very strong, and it can come down to, for 48 hours, you either play this deck that is really good with this location, or you play the counter. And some people don't want to do that for 48 hours. I definitely see less talk about it on the weekends when we get the featured location. It's only for 24 hours. I see a lot less people being like, oh, this location, I have to run this deck. Like, I see a lot less of that. So I think if you change that for the hot locations to 24 hours, I just think that would help. And you're upgrading it also from the 60% to the 40%, so the devs can still get their data of how the new location's working. I don't think we've really ever seen like a location fix, like them nerf it or buff it or anything.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so. We haven't seen anything like that yet. No, it'd be really interesting as well. Yeah, but I mean that kind of makes sense why they do it, right? It's I actually never thought about that. It's in a way of like testing the location to see, okay, what are cards that are probably. Oh, it's actually really interesting now, because it's probably like, okay, people are gonna build the best decks around these locations. What are the best ones to be? And then maybe from that, they can then kind of estimate, oh, do we just put this into, then they can estimate, okay, what percentage, like how often is this actually seen in the general pool of locations? Is it super powerful? Do we decide it's a little bit less seen, it's a little bit more rare, or it's more common? So actually, yeah, I never really thought about that, but that's a really interesting way that they probably, how they use to kind of go about figuring out that type of data. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're still beta testing for them, the new locations.
Yeah, we are still beta testing. Yes.
But I think another thing with it also is it would cut out. I've seen some people just like get rid of hot location, like the increase rate of the hot locations and the feature locations. But one thing that I really enjoy about them is that it makes cards better. That because or cards that don't really see play, like Doc Ock. Yeah, Doc Ock sees a little bit more play now. But a couple weeks ago, before Rickety Bridge, I didn't see Doc Ock hardly at all. But as soon as you could Doc Ock into Rickety Bridge and the Galactus, Doc Ock was everywhere. Yeah. And so I think it helps shine some cards. Like this, the last location, what's the current one? Sacred Timeline. I haven't played a Deadpool deck in months. I don't have Bass, so I don't have that new toy to play around with it. But for me, this was a perfect location because you can get that extra death in your hand. You can get more destruction effects for your Deadpool. You can get an extra Deadpool. Yeah, I really like the feature and hot locations for the feature of, some cards start being used more and don't being used. But I just think 48 hours is a little bit too much for some people. I think another thing I think people would be happy about, not something you really can get upset about, about that. Alrighty, so our final topic. So this is a infinite leaderboard. So obviously this is something that they've talked about on the roadmap of having. And so I would love an infinite rank leaderboard. I think that'd be very cool. It would have people a reason to do. But I also think something that people talked about is some kind of cash box. Like we have Season Pass. Once you've got your 50 levels in Season Pass, you're getting the boxes and you can get credits and stuff. So I think it'd be really cool to have a infinite leaderboard box too. So as you rank up past 100, my idea is every 10 ranks you get a box. But I think you kind of, because you want to incentivize people to do it and you don't want to make them feel bad when they open the box, an idea that I have for it is it's just gold, credits, variants, but the variants would be the only way you can open a super rare variant, because currently you can only buy the super rare variants in the shop, and like I said, you can make it a low thing. Oh, and tokens obviously in those boxes too, but if basically cutting boosters out because you don't want to climb 10 ranks of infinite to gain 100 cubes just to get 30 whoever boosters or whatever. So
yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I mean, they definitely need some sort of incentive. And again, they have been talking about, they've been looking into it about okay, once I hit Infinite, is there much reason to I mean, when I hit Infinite, I was like, okay, time to bust out the fun decks, the meme decks, you know what I'm saying? But there's people that are grinding, you've got your KM Best and all, people who've hit rank 500 before, and it's well, yeah, that's it's great, you get to see you're one of the best players, but it'd be nice to have something, you know what I mean? Say, well, I feel like I've really earned this. I've won something from spending all of this time playing. So yeah, I think a ranked infinite kind of leaderboard would be awesome. In general, it would be good, but it's interesting as well because I know they did talk about the main competitive way that they want to play, or they want to a mode that they want to introduce is primarily associated with battle mode. Now I don't think that's a reason to say, okay, let's write off what ladder is right now, but just because I'm just such a fan of battle mode and the whole idea around it right now, I think it would be awesome to see kind of tournaments and stuff like that, and maybe have you could have two ranking systems. You could have a ranking system within a battle mode tournament competitive thing, and then you could also have a version on ladder, right? I think having both would be interesting, but I'm just excited to see what kind of direction they go in terms of the kind of competitive tournament high rank side of it, if they want to stick doing infinite stuff, or if they want to kind of go further down into the battle mode kind of area.
Yeah, and I think the best thing is more options for the players is the best thing. So they've talked about new competitive modes and competitive battle mode coming and stuff. So I think that's fantastic for the players that want to get in there with the battle mode and do that. But you're going to have people that want to just play on the ladder and rank up because the metas are different, the strategies are different.
Oh, very different.
Yeah, the modes are very their own type of modes. So I think given this, because we've seen people grind leaderboards before. We've had in-game events. We had one recently with the Lunar New Year where you were playing with cards and earning the firecrackers, and there was a leaderboard for it. And a lot of people really grind and go hard, and that's what they like. So why not give them a little bit more incentive to do that? You have the leaderboard every month so they can see where they're at. That right there is already going to push people to climb and try to be the highest ranked player. But then you give them a little bit of incentive for the every 10 levels with getting the reward with the boxes too. Yeah, I think it just would help drive that. And that's an option. And then you can introduce the competitive battle mode or other modes or competitive modes. And just giving players options, I think, would just be a great thing. And just, because there definitely are going to be players that want to get sweaty, be casual. They've talked about the unranked mode. I know a lot of people are going to love that. That's kind of what I'm using battle mode for now, is I can throw up something on Twitter or hit up a friend on Discord and like, let me try this crazy idea I have, because I don't want to lose tokens trying this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's something that it's a win-win for both people. It's something as simple as a leaderboard, right? It would make those people that are grinding say, well, now I want to be the best, I'm going to keep playing the game. Whereas maybe they say, oh, well, I'm already at like rank 150 and they're playing the best deck in the game wherever, and they're like, well, I don't feel a reason to keep playing, you know what I mean? And then they go out, you know what I mean? To keep players playing, it's a simple thing that, I mean, I think would be great for everybody. Because then it's not that you would have an exact measure of like who's the best, because best is a strange word, right? It's like if you're if you're like the highest rank, yes, you're very good at the game, but being able to determine the best player, it means there's still a little bit of leeway between best player and absolute grinder, you know what I mean? But I think overall it would be very beneficial for the game. I don't see any real downside towards it.
Yeah, and I think there's both players in Snap. There are the ones that want to grind the leaderboard, and there's the ones that want to be the best, and there can be different modes for those.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. So thank you, Kawa, again for joining me today. But that's going to be it today, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Peace.